What's up, and welcome back to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast. This is episode 185, and I'm your host, Shay Haddo. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the number one practice that I personally do for my mental and emotional well-being. So, if you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you might already know what this practice is. But I recently just finished last week. I just finished my 100 days of daily meditation. So, I meditated every single day for 100 days for an hour each time. So it was kind of a crazy challenge that I did. That at first, to be honest, I wasn't quite sure if I'd be able to do it, but I stuck to it. And as I stuck to it, and as I did it, and as I got further and further along in the practice, I started to learn a lot of lessons. I started to see a ton of benefits that I want to share with you. So in this episode, I'm going to break down 6. I probably could have came up with a bunch more, but I want to give you 6 major benefits, major ways that this practice, that meditation, can really help you to transform your mental health, your emotional health, your confidence, your happiness, like so many things. So I know a lot of you listening hear the word meditation and maybe you go to the next episode because you're like, meditating is no fun. It's boring. It's hard to sit there. But realize that you don't have to meditate for an hour to get the benefits I'm talking about. You can meditate for 5 minutes a day. Meditating can be listening to a guided meditation. It could be just being quiet and listening to your thoughts. It could be listening to nature sounds. It could be focusing on your breath. So there's no wrong way to do it, as long as you sit down and you do it. All right. So let's get into these 6 ways, 6 big, massive benefits that meditation can have on your life. So number 1 is it allows you to be more aware of how you react to the world around you and also to people around you. Right. So a lot of times a circumstance happens, something happens, and we immediately react. We go into fight or flight mode. We get angry. We get mad, we get hurt, we get defensive. Like all these things happen if someone says something mean to you or something happens in your life and you immediately go into reaction mode. Well, meditation allows you to be more aware. It allows you to actually, instead of just reacting, it allows you to actually be like, oh, you know what, this is the situation. And this is how I can, instead of reacting, I'm going to respond. So it creates space between the so-called negative event and your response to it. So an example of this in your real life, personal life is, let's say that you're in a game or you're in a practice and a teammate says something to you, right? Maybe they raise their voice at you. If you don't meditate, or this is how meditation can help, is usually it's like you react. It's like, oh, this hurt me. I take this personally. I'm going to react to it. I'm going to yell back, or I'm going to, automatically think that they don't like me, whatever it is. Right. But if you meditate for long enough, consistently enough, then it teaches you to, instead of being like, oh, you know what, they weren't actually being mean to me. They just were trying to help me get in the right spot or help me to motivate me or whatever it is. So it allows you to create more space in order to respond more helpfully to other people and to the world around you. So number 2 is it allows you to prioritize yourself over other people and your devices. So here's what I mean by that is, a lot of time people say, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to be still. I don't have time to sit there for 5 minutes because I have to text my friend. I have to be there for my friend. I have to be on my phone. I have to be doing something other than being there for myself. One of the best self-care practices you can do is just giving yourself time uninterrupted, right? So it gives you time to just be with yourself without having to be on and powered on and always there for other people all the time. Not that being there for other people is bad, but a lot of times we're there for other people more than we're there for ourselves. And then we can't actually give to other people. So it teaches you to prioritize your own mental well-being, your own happiness, your own health over other people. And when you do that, that's when you can be a great friend, a great teammate, a great daughter, a great student, all of those things. And when you do this, your happiness is going to improve. Your success on the field is going to improve, right? Because instead of response, oh, someone texts me, oh, I got to go check it. No, you're better able to just be with yourself more, and you're better able to really take care of yourself first. So that's number 2. All right. Number 3 is a big one. All right. Number 3 is it decreases the noise and the thoughts and all those, just the mental chatter that goes on 24/7, 365. Right. So we all have these thoughts that come in. Sometimes they're negative, sometimes they're positive, but for the most part, our thoughts are always going, going, going. Sometimes it's like, how can I get these thoughts to be quiet, to shut up? Right. So when you are meditating, number one, your thoughts are probably going to go crazy, especially at first. Right. I remember like the first like 30 days, I was like, wow, my thoughts are just insane. So it allowed me to be aware of my thoughts. And then even like towards day 99, like at 100, my thoughts still started to go. But then I started to realize the number one, I don't need to fight my thoughts, right? Which allowed me to calm my thoughts, allows me to calm my mind and bring my nervous system back down to calm instead of always being stuck in your thoughts, right? So here's the thing with thoughts, right? Thoughts are going to be there no matter what, right? They're going to be there unless you're meditating for like an hour, then they really start to go away. But your thoughts are going to be there, right? So you get to choose. Am I going to follow these thoughts? Am I going to make something of these thoughts? Or am I just going to let these thoughts pass? So when you meditate more often, you, instead of being really tied up in the thoughts and identifying with the thoughts, you're better able to just like let the thoughts go. You're able to observe the thoughts, realize, okay, this thought is here. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to let it be here and I'm going to let it go. So instead of getting tied up in it, we just kind of let it go. And then you're not stuck on this one problem or this one thing for so long, which allows you, I know, like, especially after a game, like maybe you're stuck on this one mistake, right? You're stuck on this one mistake, or maybe at school, someone said something to you and you're just thinking about it all day. So what you can do is then you can meditate on it. You can really just sit with it and it'll be there, but then eventually it's going to go away instead of you just thinking, like going crazy, trying to figure out how to solve the problem, right? So that's number 3. Number 4 is it allows you to connect with yourself on such a deep level. And in that, you learn so much more about yourself. So the only way, in my opinion, that we can, there's a couple of different ways that you can really start to learn a lot about about yourself, about how you tick, about the things that are good for you, not good for you, such, right? One of those things is doing difficult things, right? If you challenge yourself, right, which is one reason why I did this challenge, is because it was challenging. So when you challenge yourself, when you try something new, you can learn a lot about yourself. But another way is to really be with yourself, right? How often are we like actually with ourselves, right? If we're alone, usually we're on our phones, we're watching TV, we're reading a book, we're doing something to kind of distract us from being with ourselves. But when you're meditating and you're focusing on your breath, or you're doing a guided meditation, or you're just sitting there in silence, there's nothing else that's in the way of you being with you. Like that's when you're truly with yourself. And to be honest, that's why so many people have a hard time meditating, because they don't like being with themselves. When I first started, I did not like to be with myself. I was like, I don't want to be with these crazy thoughts. I don't want to be with me. But the more I did it, I was like, you know what? I actually love being with myself. I love that quiet time. If I don't get that quiet time, if I don't get the meditation in, then my day is just different. So it allows me to really be with myself, which this takes practice. At first, when you do this, you probably aren't going to like being with yourself. But the more you do it, the more you're going to be okay and actually enjoy being with yourself. The more you can be with yourself, the more you can learn about yourself. The more you can learn about yourself, the more you're going to be able to put yourself in better situations to succeed, to be happy, to improve your mental health, all of those kinds of things, right? Like the ultimate thing, one of my mentors always says this, is the ultimate goal of life is to like love yourself when you're by yourself, right? To love yourself when you're by yourself. It's easy to love yourself when you're with other people, when you're distracted, but the ultimate goal of life is to love yourself when you're by yourself. And that's what meditation will do for you. So that's number 4. All right. Number 5, and this one is really, really big, is you're better able to handle difficult emotions and difficult situations. So this one's a little bit related to number 1, but when you meditate, you start to look at things differently. You start to see that the things that you think are so difficult in your life actually aren't that bad. Actually, in the grand scheme of life, isn't that bad. So you're better able to handle those situations, to look at it with a different perspective. And you're also better able to handle negative emotions, right? Because usually we have a negative emotion and we try to push it down. We distract ourselves. We go on our phone. We hide the negative emotion. We suppress it. And then that negative emotion stays there for a while. But what meditating allows you to do is to feel that negative emotion, which I've talked about so many times on different YouTube videos and podcasts. But right, when you can feel the negative emotion, let's say you're anxious about something, right? So instead of going off and, distracting yourself in whatever way you do that, you meditate and you just sit there. You just allow yourself to feel anxious or feel mad or feel sad or whatever it is. And when you sit with it for long enough, whether that's maybe it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe it's an hour, doesn't matter. If you're able to sit with it, that emotion will go away. So instead of suppressing all of the emotions that you feel, you can actually sit with the emotions. And although sitting with the emotion isn't always easy, the more you do it, the more you realize that emotion is going to go away. Because a lot of times we have these negative emotions and we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel like this forever, right? But it's when you start meditating and you start actually feeling the emotion, you realize like, oh, that one feeling, that one emotion went away. So I know this one's going to go away. So it allows you to sit with it more. It allows you to go through and handle more difficult situations in your life, which you're always going to have, right? All right. And number 6, last but certainly not least, is it builds confidence and your ability to stick to something difficult. So whether you give yourself a challenge to meditate 3 times a week or every day or twice a week or whatever it is, no matter what, every single time you sit down to meditate, you're probably the one part of your brain is going to be like, no, don't do this. This isn't going to help you. Get up. You have things to do, right? You'll kind of have like an angel and a devil on your shoulder. You'll have one part of your voice saying, hey, get up. This isn't helpful. And you'll have another part, more like your heart, saying, do this. It's going to be good for you, right? So when you meditate, whether it's just that one day or whether you create a challenge for yourself, you build confidence in yourself that, you know what? I didn't want to meditate, but I actually was able to sit there for 5 minutes. And now I am confident that I can stick to hard things. Right. And a good example is like, this is the reason why I did the 100 days of meditation. The biggest reason why I did it is because I was having a hard time for some reason, like really sticking to doing something hard every day. Right. I would do it for a few days, and then I would fall off. So I started to lose confidence in myself. I was like, can I actually stick to this? Right. So it was something for me that I knew that like, if I was able to stick to this, it helped me become so much more confident in my ability to stick to something, in my ability to do the thing, even though I don't feel like it. Right. Which, like, think about training on your own or working out. Like if you were like, I'm going to work out every day and you actually stuck to that thing, you're going to feel, number one, you're going to be better. But number 2, you're going to be so much more confident in yourself and your ability to stick to hard things. And that's one of the biggest ways and best ways to build confidence, is to keep the promises you make to yourself, is to be like, hey, I told myself I was going to do this and I'm actually going to do it. I'm actually going to follow through and be consistent with it, because you build trust with yourself. When you build trust with yourself, your confidence absolutely soars. You build credibility with yourself, and it's such a huge confidence boost. So again, whether it's that you create a 30-day challenge with yourself, or you just say, I'm going to just meditate today, right? Whatever it is, if you do that thing that's hard, and meditating for a lot of people, it is hard, right? It's hard because we don't like to sit still. It shouldn't be hard, but it is, right? And that's okay. So when you do it, it builds confidence in your ability to do something that maybe you didn't think you could do, or something that you didn't actually want to do, but you stuck through it and you did it anyways. So those are the 6 things. All right. Those are the 6 ways. And again, I could come up with probably 100 more ways that meditation can help you to improve your mental health, your emotional health, even your physical health, your performance, your happiness, your confidence. Like there's just an ever going list, an ever long list of how meditation can transform your life. So I encourage you to just start today. Just meditate once, see how it goes. You're probably not going to love it the first time. That's okay. Right. But you got to try hard things. You got to do hard things. That's how you build confidence, by doing difficult things. So I hope this episode helped you. We have an awesome episode lined up for next week, but if it was helpful, please leave us a review. And also, if you haven't seen yet, every day, Monday through Friday on YouTube, I started a new series called Insight of the Day with Shay, where I share a short, usually 2 to 5 minute insight, just around performance, life, your sport, like whatever, share insights, wisdom to help you. So check out and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It'll be linked below here. But hope this episode was helpful and excited for the next one. See you then.